despairrepair.com. Hi everyone, and welcome to despairrepair.com. In this video we're going to show you how to drive a car with manual transmission, also known as stick shift. So once you encounter one of these, a clutch and a different kind of gear shifter, you'll know what to do. Once you're inside the passenger cabin, you'll immediately notice the main differences between an automatic and a stick shift cars. Opposed to automatic transmission, where you have a big brake pedal and an accelerator, on stick shift cars you'll find 3 pedals. So this is the clutch, this is the brake, and this is the accelerator. Again, the left one is the clutch, the middle one is the brake, and the right one is the accelerator pedal. The main the main function of the clutch is to disengage the transmission while driving. The second difference that you'll notice is a different gear shift lever. So opposed to automatic transmission, where the gear shifter goes only forward and backwards, on manual transmission it goes forwards, backwards, left and right. When you're driving, this is what it's going to look like, okay? When you want to start the car, you have to press the clutch pedal and shift into gear. Once you've shifted into gear, when starting from standstill, you'll slowly release the clutch pedal, okay? And pressing the gas pedal. That's for starting. When the car is in motion and you're accelerating, you will press and shift the transmission freely, okay? So then you just press the clutch pedal and leave it. Also for downshifting, you can press the clutch pedal, downshift a bit more slowly, let it go, and let go of the gas pedal and press the brake pedal, okay? So that's the basic footwork on a manual stick shift. Again, the main point here is not to mix up the footwork, okay? Left for the clutch exclusively, right foot for the brake and the gas pedal. Just imagine your feet as like this. What you're doing the whole time with your feet is this. This is the proper motion, okay? With the left foot you're pressing the clutch and releasing the accelerator. When you release the clutch, you press the accelerator. So it goes in this motion. Also important to know is the gear layout. So the gear layout means where is what gear, okay? On almost every car that has a manual transmission, you'll find this kind of imprint on the gear knob. This is essentially a map of where is what gear. Okay, so all manual transmission cars have almost the same gear layout. The difference is in where is reverse, where is fifth or sixth gear, okay? But on like 90% of the cars, you'll find an imprint like this one. The reverse can be right from you. It can be in this case towards you and up. It can be towards you and down, or whatever, you know. You'll read it on the imprint. This is very important to know in order to be able to drive the car properly, okay? So if you don't know what gear is what, you can stall the car, you won't be able to move the car, and so on. So in this case, you have a reverse gear here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The speeds, of course, for you to accelerate and to move forward should move from 1 to 5, okay? When you downshift, which we'll be talking later in this video, you should go from 5 to 1 in that order. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So regarding practicing, before you start driving, press the clutch. This is first, okay? So as you can read, also important, the neutral gear. Okay, you won't find it imprinted on the gear knob, okay? Its marking in all the world is an N, but as you see, you don't find it imprinted here. So in order to for you to not get confused, the neutral is in dead center of the gear shifter layouts, between third and fourth gear, like here. You'll recognize it. As you can see, the gear knob goes up and down, and this is center. This is neutral, okay? You'll recognize it by when you put it in gear, the gear shifter will be stiff, and when you put it in neutral, it will be loose, like this. How to find the reverse, we'll be talking about later in the video. Before actually starting to drive the car, here is some useful advice. Since you're going to be extensively using your legs and feet, it's very important to have a proper leg position when in the driver's seat. Okay, so don't do this. No, don't drive like this. You won't be able to put your feet on the pedals properly. Rather, find a position like this, where you find a comfortable position where you can hold comfortably the steering wheel and your legs can freely operate around like this. Okay. Also, when using the gear lever, make sure that that your elbow is free. Okay, since your hand will be moving up and down like this, any kind of obstacles like cup holders or unadjusted armrests should be removed. The point of everything is to be comfortable and be able to freely operate every command in the car. Let's talk about finding the reverse. I've seen many times that drivers who want to drive manual transmission struggle finding the reverse gear. The main cause of that problem is that all car manufacturers that produce manual transmission cars have to have a safety against accidentally shifting the car into reverse while driving. Okay, that would be a huge danger for driving, and it would destroy the transmission. Of course, on the gear knob, you'll find it as written with an R and the direction. So in this case, it would be go left and pull up. In this case, if you did that, you'd go into first gear, okay? But this is a Skoda, okay? And mostly all Skoda cars and Volkswagen cars have, this is their trademark for finding the reverse gear. You have to press the clutch and then push the gear lever down like this, okay? Now from this angle, you push it down like this. Push it down towards yourself and up, okay? You can hear the clicking sound of the gearbox, okay? And now you're in reverse, okay? So whatever car you may encounter, it'll have sort of a gimmick like this. Either it will be down from you like this. It will be, you'll need to give it a stronger budge to one side or to this side, or like in cases of Opel and Renault or other cars, you'll maybe have a ring down here under the gear knob, which we will have to lift and then insert into reverse. My advice on this matter is that when you encounter this, you should probably Google it or ask someone where is the reverse gear in order to save yourself some time. But if you don't have that possibility, just work it around. I'm sure you'll get through it. So just read where the reverse is and try to sort of play around with the gear lever. Push it down, try to pull it up, pull it to one side, other side, and you'll find it. One more thing that you'll be using extensively when driving stick shift is the handbrake here, okay? So the main purpose of the handbrake is, of course, to keep the car in place. Why is this important when driving a stick shift? Once you put the car in neutral, like this, the car can roll or move in any direction. Okay, so you can push the car forward, it can roll freely away, and this can be dangerous. When you put the car in neutral, always pull the handbrake like this. Okay, so the car can't move anywhere. When parking the car with a manual transmission, the basic procedure is to put the car in neutral and pull the handbrake. Always pull the handbrake to the maximum. When you want to deactivate it, press the button on the front end of the handbrake and pull it down like this. When the car is in neutral, you can leave the car, for instance, in the winter to idle for the engine to warm up and so on. To illustrate, okay, so put the car in neutral. As I've said, when the car is in neutral, the transmission is totally disengaged. So now we're gonna start the car. Okay, we've put the car in neutral and slowly release the clutch pedal. As you can see, nothing happens, so the car can work in place. So remember this, whenever driving a stick shift car, before turning on the ignition and starting the engine, always press the clutch pedal, okay? Many people don't do this, and if you don't do this, this is what happens. So if the car is in gear, and for instance, the handbrake is down, this is what happens. You get a big jolt, and the car will move forward or backwards and can cause an accident. Also, before you start to drive, of course, set the rear view mirror, set the side mirrors, and set the hands on the steering wheel at 10 at 2 o'clock. What's also important here, unlike driving a car with automatic transmission, you will have to use one hand to shift the gears. So be prepared to, while driving, take one hand off the wheel in order to shift gears. Now we're going to do some actual driving. So remember, the left foot is for the clutch and the right foot is for the accelerator pedal and the brake. Try not to mix them up. Okay, so now, as we've said, pull the parking brake, press the clutch, shift it in neutral, and start the car. After that, put your foot on the brake so you don't move once you release the handbrake. Release the handbrake, put the car in first gear, release the brake pedal, press the accelerator to about 1500 to 2000 RPMs and slowly release the clutch. And away we go. Now, once you set the car in motion, accelerate to about 2500 to 3000 RPMs, clutch, and shift into second gear. Accelerate more to another 3000 RPMs, shift, clutch, third gear. By this time, you already accelerated to about 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Accelerate more to another 3000 RPMs, clutch, shift, fourth gear. And this is the way it goes all up to fifth or sixth gear, depending on the type of gearbox you have. So again, remember, the first gear is for setting the car into motion, and the other gears are for accelerating. Once you started to accelerate, press the clutch, shift into higher gear, and freely release the clutch. Now, let's talk about downshifting. What is downshifting? Unlike the automatic gearbox, where when you start pressing the brake pedal, the car starts to slow down, on the stick shift, you have to make the downshift yourself, so to say. So once you start slowing down, you have to go from fifth gear to fourth to third to second and to standstill. You have to do it on your own, so to say. So at this time, for instance, we're in the fourth gear, and now we want to slow down. Let's say we're going on an intersection, or we have to slow down because of a street light or something, and this is the way it goes. First, release the accelerator pedal. Okay, lift your foot off the accelerator pedal, press the clutch, and go from fourth to third. Okay, by this time the car has slowed down. From third, again, clutch and second. By this time you've almost slowed down to standstill. To full stop, press the brake and press the clutch pedal to full, and then press the brake pedal until you reach full stop. and that's how you do downshifting. Now, hopefully by this time you've got the idea how everything functions. So if you want to go forward from first to fifth, and you shift upwards. When you want to slow down, release the accelerator pedal, use the brake, and use the clutch and downshift. Okay. Now we're gonna do some real driving. Okay. How it's supposed to look in real time. Okay. So we're in first gear, going into second, accelerating, clutch, third gear, accelerating some more, clutch, fourth gear, accelerating some more, clutch, fifth gear. All the time you only have to release the pedal slowly when you're starting. The rest of the time freely let the clutch pedal go. Now we're entering a curve, a bit of downshifting. Clutch from fifth to fourth. Let the accelerator pedal go and give it a bit of press. Accelerating again. Clutch, fifth gear. Now, I told you about the RPMs. That all depends on what type of car you're driving. Diesel engines usually don't need much RPMs in order for you to shift. Petrol engines ask for a bit more RPMs before you shift, so don't bog the engine down. Also, when downshifting, be sure to use the clutch wisely. Okay, so the moment you hear the engine starting to bog down, press the clutch. Okay. The point of all this is to have a fluent style of driving. So all of this shifting, business, shifting, clutch, it all seems complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. And only when it becomes second nature are you a real stick shift driver, at least in my opinion. What's the most important thing to know is that don't go on the road until you've mastered the whole procedure entirely. Okay, it's all a bit distracting in the beginning. You're more focused on shifting, which leg goes where, what you're supposed to do, and so on, and that is very distracting, and you can cause an accident. So the first thing you should do once you get the hang of moving the car, upshifting and downshifting, is find a secluded road and train yourself a bit so you can get the hang of it. Again, when it becomes second nature, you're a real stick shift driver. I always like to advise to, of course, pay attention to the road. In that manner, I told you can always watch the RPMs on the odometer, but it would be best for you to pay more attention to listen to the engine. Okay, that is something that I always like to do. It's less distracting since you have to move your eyes off the road and onto the odometer. That's okay, but it's pretty dangerous and distracting. So there you have it. For the end, remember that you've become a proper stick shift driver when all of this shifting, pressing the clutch and everything else becomes second nature. Remember always that safety is first, and that what's most important is to watch your safety and watch the road. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, give us a like and subscribe. You have also written tutorial on prevail.com where you can find more details about stick shift driving. Thanks for watching. We hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please click the subscribe button. For more information on how to do checkups and simple repairs around the car, be sure to visit us at prevail.com.